What's up, people? It's your boy Nash, and I'm back at it again with another subject. Yeah, it's the year 2020. 2020, 2020, 2020, 2020. It is what it is. You know what it is. Yeah, man, this year has come with a lot, and I'm just glad that we've made it. But I've realized that many people have gone through a lot, and it has put them in a position where they've been questioning God's existence. So they've been asking, does God exist? And if he exists, is he a good God? And if he is a good God, why does he allow evil and suffering in this world? So I got a clip from Batman vs. Superman's movie. And I think it's a perception of many people out there. It's a question that many people have asked indirectly, maybe through the movie. Lex Luthor talks about God being all powerful and being all good. If he's all powerful, he cannot be all good. If he's all good, he cannot be all powerful because he allows evil and suffering in this world. So listen to what he says to Superman. Watch this clip and see, then we get back at it.
Boy, do we have problems up here. The problem of evil in the world. The problem of absolute virtue.
I'll take you in without breaking you, which is more than you deserve.
The problem of you on top of everything else. You above all. Because that's what God is. Horus, Apollo, Jehovah, Kal-El, Clark, Joseph, Kent. See, what we call God depends upon our tribe, Clark Joe. Because God is tribal. God takes sides. No man in the sky intervened when I was a boy to deliver me from Daddy's fist and abominations. I figured out way back. If God is all-powerful, he cannot be all good. And if he is all good, then he cannot be all-powerful. And neither can you be. They need to see the fraud you are with their eyes.
Yeah, so you've watched it, you've seen it, and to answer this question, yes, I did my research and I found this particular interesting video that will answer your questions on what you need to know about God, God's existence, and him being good, and on the question of why does he allow evil and suffering in this world. Okay guys, enjoy, and I know that you will be educated and blessed as you watch this video. Thank you.
When it comes to the issue of suffering and the fact that there is suffering in this world, we have to take that very seriously. I've seen so many Christians who blow off the question and say, we can jump right to the answer. This is a question that doesn't just come from the mind, it comes from the heart, and it comes from human experience. We have to take the problem of suffering seriously.
It's interesting if you look back in the history of ideas, the problem of evil wasn't really considered such till about the 17th, 18th century onwards. And of course it's been trawled out more and more by our new atheist friends these days, being the idea that if there's a God who is all good and is all holy and is all powerful, how could evil exist? Since if he was all good, he wouldn't allow it. If he was all knowing, he would know what's going to happen, he would stop it, and so forth. But I think when we look at it, this argument from evil is actually an argument that points us towards also the existence of God.
Evil is a departure from the way things ought to be. And if it is a departure from the way things ought to be, that means there is a way things ought to be. There is a design plan for this universe. And the only way you can have a design plan that is good, that is supposed to be perfect, is if God exists. So the problem of evil really drives us right back to the existence of God. It does not drive us away from him when we think about it from a biblical perspective, or even from a logical perspective.
If God truly has created this world in freedom, then there is always the possibility, if it's truly free, for freedom to be both used in good ways and in evil ways. So we can explain the human problem with evil because there are times when humans perpetrate evil against their own bodies, against one another. They use their freedom, misuse their freedom really, in ways that bring about evil.
What are those people who are suffering? What do they say about this? Generally speaking, around the world, those who are suffering say that God must exist, that He is their hope, He is their reason, and this isn't just a crutch to hold on to. They have seen God come through for the people around them. So the question, first off, that's asked, how could God exist if there's so much suffering in this world? That's not one that people who are suffering usually ask. Of course, in the industrialized West they do, but generally speaking around the world, it's not one that people normally ask.
I myself lost my husband and didn't in a million years see that coming. I would say that everybody who's gone through grief experiences the absence of God, from great, wonderful Christian people like C.S. Lewis to myself to others. I've read in lots of grief literature that there is that sense that God has abandoned you. So I would say I understand where you're coming from. But I would also say in my own process that as I continue to wrestle with God over it, to argue with God, to pour out my feelings before God, even feelings of, I don't like you anymore, God, I don't love you, how could you do this to me? There is a way in which God is very present in that dark experience, and that's the only way I can describe it. As I clung on, and as I reminded myself that all who wander are not lost, I was comforted by that and recognized that even in those dark places, God comes near. But even in those places, we can trust that God is with us. That's what the psalmist affirms, and I think ultimately our experience affirms that as we come to see grace being given to us, even in those places that we thought we had gone beyond God's grace because of what we were suffering.
But the Christian answer to the problem of evil is that the God who made the world also brought the solution. He wasn't staying detached, as Dorothy Sayers says. He didn't stay up in heaven and think, oh, look at them all suffering, or there's pain and sorrow here, and I'm just leaving them to it. The Creator Himself stepped into the equation, bore the penalty, the price of the sorrow of healing the universe, of forgiving the brokenness, of restoring the creation. And so I feel the Christian answer is a good answer. It doesn't exhaust the answer philosophically, but it's better than the alternatives, and I would take it as a credible response.